तो कैसे हैं आप लोग?
और यार शुरू करते हैं।
Okay, here I have to explain why these two numbers are composite numbers. Okay, before that, when do we call a number as prime or composite? We call a number as prime when it has no factors except 1 and the number itself, right? It is not divisible by any other number other than itself or 1. Then that number we call as prime number. But if it is divisible by any other number other than these two, then we call it as a composite number, correct? Therefore, any number is either prime or composite. So that is, composite is more than two factors. And prime has only two factors, which are 1 and the number itself. So if you look at these numbers, the first number is 7 into 11 into 13 plus 13. 7, 11 and 13 all are prime numbers. So we might be tempted, but and to that you are adding something. Here I am adding 13 to this. So I can also write it as 13 times of 7 into 11, right? Plus 13 times of 1. So I can take 13 common, right? So here, as you can clearly see, this is going to be an integer and this is already a prime number. Therefore, this number, this entire number, I can write as a product of two integers. Therefore, this is not a prime number because 13 is also a factor of this number. Therefore, this is a composite number. Okay. Similarly, for the second number, if I call this number as b, okay, then b is equal to 7 into 6 into 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1 plus 5, correct? So here this term is divisible by 5 and this term is also divisible by 5, correct? So I can write it as 5 into 7 into 6 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1 plus 1, correct? Because this is simply the distributive property of multiplication. So if I can write it like this, what I can say, this is an integer. Therefore, 5 is a factor of b. Therefore, 5 is a factor of b and b is not equal to 5. So, this number b has a factor which is other than 1 and the number itself. Therefore, it has to be a composite number. Therefore, b is also composite number. Here, there is a circular path around a sports field and Sonia takes 18 minutes to drive one round of the field. So, let us say she starts from here. To drive one round, Sonia takes 18 minutes and Ravi takes 12 minutes for the same. So, suppose they both start at the same point. So, let us say here is Sonia and Ravi is also here only and go in the same direction. Okay, so both go in the same direction. After how many minutes will they meet again at the starting point? So, if they start from here, so they'll keep on making rounds. So, let us say the time taken, let us say after say some t minutes, both of them will meet again at the starting point. In t minutes, Sonia has completed some number of rounds. So, t is divisible by 12, sorry, divisible by 18 because Sonia will take 18 minutes to complete one round. So, to complete two rounds, she will take 18 into 2 minutes. One round and she'll take 18 minutes. 2 rounds she'll take 18 into 2 minutes. 3 rounds she'll take 18 into 3 minutes. So for any number of rounds, the time taken for Sonia will be 18 into something, right? So the time taken by Sonia will be divisible by 18, correct? Similarly, the time taken by Ravi is divisible by 12 because Ravi has completed an integer number of rounds. That means the time taken by him will be some integer multiplied by 12, right? Therefore, t is again divisible by 12, correct? So now it is said that they start at the same point and at the same time, go in the same direction, and after how many minutes will they meet again at the starting point? That means for both of them to meet again at the starting point, they will be meeting many times. But what is the first time they will meet? Because the question did not say that they met more than once. The question said they will meet only once. That means what is the minimum time that will value of t such that t is divisible by 18 and t is divisible by 12? That is same as the LCM of these two, right? Correct? Because if t is the LCM of 18 and 12, then that is the minimum number of time after which both of them will meet at the starting point, right? Therefore, t is equal to LCM of 18 and 12. So, if I want to find the value of LCM of 18 and 12, I will factorize both of them. 18 is equal to 2 into 9, which is same as 2 into 3 into 3, or 2 into 3 square. Similarly, 12 is equal to 2 into 6, or 2 into 2 into 3, which is equal to 2 square into 3, right? So now if I got the prime factorization of 18 and 12, what will be the LCM? LCM will be equal to 2 power the highest of the two, which is 2 square, multiplied by 3 power the highest square, which is 3 square, right? Which is equal to 2 square is 4 and 3 square is 9. So 4 into 9 is 36. Therefore, the LCM is 36. It means that t is equal to 36. Therefore, after 36 minutes, Sonia and Ravi will meet again at the starting point.
So, in question number 1, we have to prove that root 5 is irrational. So, let's say कि root 5 क्या है? Rational number है. So, if root 5 is rational number, then we can write root 5 in form of a by b, and where a and b are co-prime numbers. A and b are co-prime numbers. Why we are taking it as co-prime number? Because अब इससे क्या हो जाएगा, इनमें कोई भी क्या बोलते हैं कॉमन फैक्टर्स नहीं आएगा, तो ये एकदम सबसे सिंपलेस्ट फॉर्म में होंगे. सो यार ए एंड बी आर को-प्राइम नंबर्स. सो अब हमें क्या करना है, अब लेट से कि अब हम क्या लिख सकते हैं, रूट 5 इज इक्वल टू ए बाई बी है, तो हम ए को क्या लिख सकते हैं, ए इज इक्वल टू रूट 5 टाइम्स बी. सो यहाँ से क्या हो जाएगा, ए स्क्वायर क्या हो जाएगा, ए स्क्वायर इज इक्वल टू 5 टाइम्स बी स्क्वायर. सो यहाँ से क्या हो जाएगा, यहाँ से हो जाएगा कि क्या है, ए स्क्वायर इज डिविजिबल बाय 5. ए स्क्वायर इज डिविजिबल बाय 5. तो अब क्या करना चाहिए हमें इसके आगे, तो अब हम क्या करेंगे, अब ए स्क्वायर डिविजिबल बाय 5 है, तो सिमिलरली क्या है, ये क्या है, सब क्या है, रैशनल नंबर है. तो ए स्क्वायर अगर डिविजिबल बाय 5 है, तो ए भी क्या होगा, डिविजिबल बाय 5 होगा. तो हम ए को क्या लिख सकते हैं, वी कैन राइट ए इज इक्वल टू 5k. तो अगर अब हम इसे पुट कर दें वैल्यू, तो यहाँ से क्या आ जाएगा, 5k का होल स्क्वायर इज इक्वल टू व्हाट, 5b स्क्वायर. सो यहाँ से क्या जाएगा, k स्क्वायर की वैल्यू क्या जाएगी, या फिर b स्क्वायर की वैल्यू क्या जाएगी, b स्क्वायर इज इक्वल टू 5 टाइम्स के स्क्वायर आ जाएगा। तो यहाँ से हो जाएगा वी कैन क्लियरली सी बी स्क्वायर भी किससे डिवाइड हो जाएगा, 5 से। बी स्क्वायर अगर 5 से डिवाइड हो रहा है तो मीन्स बी इज डिविजिबल बाय 5, बी इज डिविजिबल बाय 5। और सिमिलरली यहाँ से भी क्या आया था, ए स्क्वायर डिविजिबल 5 था तो ए इज डिविजिबल बाय 5। तो हमने स्टार्टिंग में ही क्या एजम्पशन लिया था, हमने एजम्पशन लिया था कि जो ए एंड बी है वो क्या है, को प्राइम नंबर से, मीन इन दोनों में कोई कॉमन फैक्टर नहीं है। बट ए भी क्या है, डिविजिबल बाय 5 है, और बी भी क्या है, डिविजिबल बाय 5 है। सो कॉमन फैक्टर क्या हो गया, ए और बी में कॉमन फैक्टर आ गया 5। सो 5 इज कॉमन फैक्टर, 5 इज कॉमन फैक्टर। और कॉमन फैक्टर तो पॉसिबल हो ही नहीं सकता, कॉमन फैक्टर बिटवीन ए एंड बी। तो ये क्या है, नॉट पॉसिबल केस है। तो मीन्स अगर ये नॉट पॉसिबल है तो क्या हो जाएगा, हमारा जो हमने जो उसे एजम्पशन लिया था कि ए बाई बी क्या है, एक रैशनल नंबर है, वो रॉन्ग हो जाएगा। तो यहाँ से हो जाएगा ये अगर केस पॉसिबल ही नहीं है तो मीन्स ए बाई बी इज इर्रेशनल। और ए बाई बी इज इर्रेशनल है तो क्या हो जाएगा, √5 भी एक इर्रेशनल नंबर हो जाएगा। ए बाई बी इज इर्रेशनल, सो √5 इज इर्रेशनल। नाउ अब सेकंड पार्ट क्या है इसी मतलब अब जो सेकंड क्वेश्चन है, उस सेकंड क्वेश्चन में हमें क्या करना है, हमें प्रूव करना है कि 3 + 2 √5 क्या है, इर्रेशनल है। तो अगेन हम बोल देंगे 3 + 2 √5 क्या है, ए बाई बी के इक्वल है, और जहाँ ए बी क्या है, को प्राइम नंबर्स है। तो 3 + 2 √5 इज इक्वल टू ए बाई बी। तो हम यहाँ से क्या लिख सकते हैं कि √5 की वैल्यू क्या जाएगी, √5 इज इक्वल टू 1/2 इंटू ए बाई बी -3। तो अगर हमें पता है कि ए बाई बी एक क्या है, रैशनल नंबर है, तो ए बाई बी -3 भी एक रैशनल नंबर हो जाएगा, और 1/2 भी क्या है, रैशनल नंबर हो जाएगा। तो अभी हमने √5 प्रूफ किया कि √5 तो एक इर्रेशनल नंबर है। तो अगर √5 एक इर्रेशनल नंबर है और ये पूरा एक क्या है, रैशनल नंबर से, मैं लिख देता हूं दिस, ये ए बाई बी रैशनल है तो ए बाई बी -3 रैशनल, और 1/2 इंटू रैशनल नंबर इज रैशनल नंबर। तो ये पूरा हो गया रैशनल नंबर, और ये क्या है, इर्रेशनल है। तो ये दोनों आपस में इक्वल हो ही नहीं सकते। तो एक इर्रेशनल है और एक रैशनल है, तो इनडायरेक्टली क्या हो जाएगा, 3 + 2 √5 इज इर्रेशनल, क्योंकि ये दोनों इक्वल नहीं है। तो हमने जो एजम्पशन लिया था रैशनल होने का वो रॉन्ग हो गया है। तो मीन्स 3 + 2 √5 इज इर्रेशनल। तो अब जो थर्ड क्वेश्चन है उसका जो फर्स्ट पार्ट है वो हम क्या बोलते करेंगे, बाकी सेकंड पार्ट हम फर्स्ट पार्ट की तरह कर सकते हैं, मतलब फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन की तरह कर सकते हैं। ये क्या है, सिमिलर टू फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन है, और जो थर्ड पार्ट है ये क्या है, सिमिलर टू सेकंड क्वेश्चन है। सो अब हम क्या करेंगे, थर्ड का फर्स्ट पार्ट करेंगे 1/√2 के लिए। सो जो थर्ड क्वेश्चन है हमारा, थर्ड क्वेश्चन में क्या है, नंबर है 1/√2। तो अगर हम एज्यूम करें कि ये क्या है, रैशनल नंबर, तो हम इसे क्या लिख सकते हैं, अगेन वी कैन राइट इट एज ए बाई बी। तो अब क्या हो जाएगा, पहले क्या हुआ था, पहले हुआ था a इज इक्वल टू √B5। अब की बार बस थोड़ा सा चेंज हो जाएगा, और b इज इक्वल टू क्या हो जाएगा, √2a हो जाएगा। और फिर क्या हो जाएगा, अगर हम दोनों साइड स्क्वायर करेंगे तो हो जाएगा b² इज इक्वल टू 2a²। तो फिर हम क्या करेंगे, अगर b² 2 से डिवाइड हो रहा है तो वी कैन से b इज ऑल्सो डिविजिबल बाय 2। तो ये हमने क्या करा, एज्यूम केस ले लिया कि b इज ऑल्सो डिविजिबल बाय 2। तो अब हम क्या कर सकते हैं, b को हम क्या लिख सकते हैं, b इज इक्वल टू 2k। तो अब 2k लिखेंगे तो क्या हो जाएगा, यहाँ से हो जाएगा b² की वैल्यू क्या हो जाएगी, 4k²। तो 4k² इज इक्वल टू 2a² हो जाएगा। तो यहाँ से क्या हो जाएगा, a² इज इक्वल टू 2k²। तो वी कैन क्लियरली सी, यहाँ से क्या हो जाएगा, a² अगर 2 से डिविजिबल है तो a इज ऑल्सो डिविजिबल बाय 2, डिविजिबल बाय 2। तो अब क्या हो जाएगा, अगेन हमने यहाँ पे क्या लिया था, ए और बी ऐसे थे कि ये को प्राइम नंबर्स थे, हमने जैसे फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन में एज्यूम करा था, यहाँ पर भी वही सेम सिनेरियो है। तो ये कॉमन फैक्टर्स को प्राइम नंबर्स थे। कॉमन फैक्टर होना चाहिए था इक्वल टू व्हाट, इक्वल टू 0, जब क्या आ रहा है कॉमन फैक्टर कितना आ गया, हमारा कॉमन फैक्टर आ गया इसमें इक्वल टू 2। तो ये तो पॉसिबल ही नहीं, क्योंकि को प्राइम नंबर्स का जो फैक्टर होता है कॉमन फैक्टर होता है इक्वल टू 0, सॉरी इक्वल टू 1, और यहाँ कॉमन फैक्टर इक्वल टू 2। सो दिस केस इज नॉट पॉसिबल। तो नॉट पॉसिबल मीन्स जो हमने एजम्पशन लिया था कि वो क्या है, एक रैशनल नंबर है, वो रॉन्ग है। सो यहाँ से कह जाएगा 1/√2 इज इरेशनल नंबर, और बस यही हमें प्रूफ करना था कि 1/√2 इज इरेशनल नंबर। सो दिस इज अवर आंसर। बस हर क्वेश्चन में हमने क्या करा है, हम पहले एज्यूम कर लेते हैं कि वो एक रैशनल नंबर है और a/b की फॉर्म में ट्राई करते हैं उसे कि शो कर सके। अगर नहीं हो पाता तो वो इरेशनल नंबर है, अगर हो जाता है तो रैशनल नंबर है।
Write down the decimal expressions of those rational numbers in question 1 above which have terminating decimal expansions. So, if we look at the question 1, we found that these fractions have terminating decimal expansion. That is this one, 13/3125, 17/8, 15/1600, 23/2 power 3 into 5 square, and 35/50. Fine. These are the 5 fractions for which we got that they have terminating decimal expansions. So let us look at them one by one. The first one is 13/3125. So the first one is 13/3125. So if I want to write the decimal expansion, the easiest way to do is I perform long division. So 13 I have to divide by 3125. So clearly it is not usable exactly. If I put a 0, no. If I put one more 0, still no. If I put one more 0, yes, it is divisible. How much? 3 4s are 12. So if I multiply with 4, I'll get 4 0 0 5 1 2, right? It is 12,500. So if I subtract it, I'll get 500 and another 0. So 5,000 and 3125. So it goes with ones. So 3125. If I subtract again, then I'll get 5 7 8 1. So 18750. Then I know that 3 into 6 is 18, but I have to check whether 125 into 6 will be 750 or not. I guess yes. So if I multiply it with 6, I'll get 0, 5 7 1 8. This becomes 0. Therefore, the decimal expansion of this is 0.00416. Okay. So now if I look at the next part, the next part of the question is for 17/8. So the second part is 17/8. So if I divide 17 with 8, 8 2s are 16, and 1 point, decimal point comes here. So 8 1s are 8, 20, 8 2s are 16, 40. So 8 5s are 40. So we get the remainder 0, which means that 17/8 is equal to 2.125. After that, the third part is this one. It is actually the fourth question. 15 by 1600. So 15 by 1600. So dividing by 100 means I can simply shift the decimal point. If I ignore it, I have to find 15 by 16. So 15 by 16 will be 160. Then 16 nines are 144, right? So I'll get 6 0. 16 threes are 48. So what? 12 0. This will be 16 sevens are, right? 6 sevens are 42. 1 7 plus 4 is 11, 112. So I'll get 80, and 16 fives are 80. So this is equal to 0.9375 is 15 by 16. So if I have to divide it by 100, I have to shift the decimal places 2 more to the left. So I'll get 0.009375. Correct? And what's the next question? The next question is 23 by 2 cube into 5 square. Correct? So what is that? 23 by 2 cube into 5 square. I can write it as 23 by 200, right? Because 2 square into 5 square is 100 multiplied with 2, which is 200. So this is equal to 0.23 divided by 2, which will be 0.115. And looking at the next question, which is the last one, the ninth part, 35 by 50. 35 by 50. I can clearly see that the numerator and the denominator both are divisible by 5. So if I simplify the expression, I'll get 7 by 10, which is simply 0.7. So these are my answers. Okay, the following real numbers have decimal expansions as given below. In each case, decide whether they are rational or not. So this decimal expansion is terminating. So definitely it is rational. So I am going to denote rational as R, rational as R, and irrational as I. Okay. So now this one is rational because it is terminating. If I look at the second one, it is 0.012, sorry, 0.12, 012, 0012, 00012, and so on. As you can see, the number of zeros is going on increasing. So it is not a repeating sequence, neither it is a terminating sequence. So since it is neither terminating nor repeating sequence, this is an irrational number. And this one, 43.123456789 bar. This line above these numbers means that all these numbers are continuously repeating in the same sequence. Therefore, after this 9, I would again get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and so on. Therefore, it is not terminating, but it is a repeating decimal. Therefore, this is also a rational number. Okay. So the next part of the question is, if they are rational and of the form P by Q, what can you say about the prime factors of Q? So for that, if I look at the first option, this is a terminating expansion. So we know that we will get a terminating expansion only if denominator is of the form 2 to the power P into, okay, I'll use 2 to the power A into 5 to the power B, where A and B are natural numbers, right? It is only in this case that I will get a terminating expansion. So the prime factors of Q are 2 and 5 only. it may happen that 2 may not be present or 5 may not be present, but nothing else will be present. Nothing else can be there, like 3 or 7, they can't be there. Therefore, the prime factors of Q are either 2 or 5 or both. That's it. No other prime number can be a factor of Q. Okay? And similarly, the second one is an irrational number, so I don't have to do this part. And the third one is 43.123456789 bar. Here we see that it is non-terminating but repeating. So I can say that the prime factors of Q has other primes than 2 and 5. That is, Q can be written as something like 2 power A into 5 power B into some other primes. That is, this is not the complete expansion of Q or the complete factorization of Q. Therefore, the prime factors of Q are it could be 2, it could be 5, but there are necessarily prime factors which are not 2 or 5. Or if I try to actually solve it, I will get it as 43 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 divided by 9999 99999. This is what you would get it as. So you can see there is 9 in the factor and many other terms. 9 is there means 3 is there. So therefore I can definitively tell that 2 and 5 won't be there, but there will be other terms other than 2 and 5. Use Euclid's algorithm to find the HCF of 4052 and 12576. So before trying to use the Euclid's algorithm, let us try to do it the normal way. How do we do it normally? Here I can see that 12576 is greater than 4052. So I'll try to divide 12576 by this, right? So 12576 if I divide by 4052, I can multiply this by 3, right? So then what will I get? 12,156, right? And what is my remainder? 420, right? Now here I see that my remainder is not 0. So if I repeat the process, that is, if I divide 4052 by 420, then what will I get? 4052 divided by 420. I know that 420 into 9, it will be very close to 4052. So what is that? 0, 8, 3, 7, right? 3780, right? This is the value of 420 into 9. So if I subtract this, what I'll get? 2, 7 and 2, 272, right? This is the remainder I'll get when I divide 4052 by 420. Still it did not become 0. So if I further divide it, that is, if I divide 420 by 272, 272 ones are 272. So if I subtract it, I'll be left with 8, 4, 1, right? 148. Still the remainder is not 0. So if I repeat the process, I'll divide 148, sorry, I'll divide 272 by 148. So 148 into 1 is 148, correct? And the remainder will be 124, right? So if I repeat this process again, that is, if I divide 148 by 124, then 124 into 1 is 124, and the remainder is 24, right? So if I divide this again, because the remainder is not 0, so if I divide 124 by 24, then I know 24 into 5 is 120, and the remainder is 4, right? And if I divide 24 by 4, the 6 4s are 24, sorry, 4 6 are 24, and the remainder will be 0. So here I got the remainder as 0. So what will I say? My HCF is 4, right? That is, this is my HCF, that's what I'll tell. Now the same thing I can do by Euclid's algorithm also. What does Euclid's lemma tell that? Euclid's lemma says that if A is greater than B, then I can write A as B into Q plus R, right? So here if I see, I can write 12,576, which is the dividend. It is equal to divisor into quotient plus remainder, correct? So I can write it as 4052 into 3 plus 420, right? This is same as my Euclid's lemma. So, and if I try to write this as the equation, I can write it as 4052 is equal to 420 into 9 plus 272, right? Similarly, 420 is equal to 272 into 1 plus 148, and 148 is equal to 124, I missed a step. 272 is equal to 148 into 1 plus 124, right? And 148 is equal to 124 into 1 plus 24, and 124 is equal to 24 into 1 plus 24 into 5 plus 4, and 24 is equal to 4 into 6 plus 0, right? I can write all these divisions in this format also, right? So now what does the Euclid's algorithm tell? Euclid's algorithm tells that if I can write A is equal to BQ plus R, then HCF of A and B is same as HCF of B and R. Okay, that is what is the Euclid's algorithm tells. So what does that mean? HCF of these two numbers is same as HCF of 4052 and 420, right? So what is HCF of 4052 and 420? That I can tell like this, that HCF of these two is same as HCF of these two. And what is that same as? This one, right? So that is same as HCF of 272 and 148. So that means it is same as HCF of 148 and 124, which is same as HCF of 124 and 24, which is same as 24 and HCF of 24 and 4, correct? So what is HCF of 24 and 4? It is 4, because 4 divides 24. Therefore HCF of 24 and 4 is 4. Therefore HCF of 4052 and 12,576 is 4. This is the way to use Euclid's algorithm to find the HCF of two numbers. We have to show that every positive even integer is of the form 2q, and every positive odd integer is of the form 2q plus 1, where q is some integer. So for this, if I have two numbers A and B such that A is greater than B, or otherwise also, okay, if I consider A is greater than B, then I can write A is equal to B into Q plus R, right? This is what? This is the Euclid's lemma, right? No, this is simply division of A by B. A is equal to B into quotient plus remainder. So if I put B is equal to 2, right, then A is equal to 2 into Q plus R, right, where A can be any positive integer greater than 2, or it can be even equal to 2. So A is greater than equal to 2, right? So now I can even write for A less than equal to 2, because then Q will be simply negative, but still Q is an integer, so A can be any integer. I can write as A is equal to 2 into Q plus R. So what are the values R can take? R can take either 0 or 1, correct? So if R is equal to 0, then what does that mean? Then A is equal to 2Q, right? What do you mean by remainder is 0? If remainder is 0, then A is divisible by 2, correct? If A is divisible by 2, then I call A as an even integer, right? Because A is an integer, and if it is divisible by 2, then A will be an even integer. So A is equal to 2Q means A is even integer, right? Or vice versa, because if A is an even integer, then if I divide A by 2, I will get a remainder of 0. So I can write every even integer in the form of A is equal to 2Q. Similarly, if R is equal to 1, that means the remainder is 1, then when do we call that? If we divide a number by 2 and we get a remainder 1, then we call it as an odd number, right? So this means that it is an odd number. And if I put R is equal to 1 here, A is equal to 2Q plus 1, correct? So A is an odd number and A is equal to 2Q plus 1. These two statements are consistent with each other. That is, if this statement is true, then this is also true, or if this statement is true, then this is also true. Therefore, I can write every odd number in the form of A is equal to 2Q plus 1. Therefore, I have to prove that every even integer is of the form 2Q and every odd integer is of the form 2Q plus 1. That is what I have proved here.